Okay, so there's a video from a year ago or about 4 months ago from South by Southwest. They did an interview with the cast of the movie Office Space, one of my favorite movies of all time. Fantastic film. They got together Mike Judge, Ron Livingston, David Herman, the guy that played Samir. Gary Cole couldn't make it. Lumbergh, they said he had an illness or something going on in his family, unfortunately. Lumbergh was awesome, but they had Stephen Root was there also, and the host actually made a funny joke about Jennifer Aniston not being there because she's Jennifer Aniston. But another guy who was missing, though, was Diedrich Bader, the guy that played the fucking A guy who did the drywall at McDonald's. But anyways, what I wanted to touch on is it's a decent, pretty good interview. People in the comments were really knocking the hostess. I thought she did okay, but the thing I wanted to comment about is David Herman, the guy that played Michael Bolton in the movie. If you take a look at him, he looks completely different than he did in the movie. When I saw him, it was almost kind of like, I don't know if you remember when Pee Wee Herman got arrested for jerking off in the porno theater, how different he looked. It was kind of that big of a shock, like he's unrecognizable from the character in the movie. You know, the guy he played, he actually did a great job as that Michael Bolton. I thought that character had some really great range of emotion, you know. He went from this really angry guy, but he was kind of vulnerable. You know, when he's listening to the hip-hop music in the car, he rolls up the window. But this David Herman guy, man, he seems like one of these guys, and I guess he had been on Mad TV, so maybe he's got a background in sketch comedy. Maybe that's why he was acting this way. He seems like one of these guys. First off, he seemed pretty angry, genuinely, but he seemed like one of these guys who has to be on all the time, you know, instead of just coming on there and maybe, you know, answering the questions, being a bit straightforward, and maybe, you know, throwing in a funny comment here and there. He was just way over the top, like he was really trying to be on all the time, you know, and it really came off bad.
Mike had originally seen me in the porn version, Orifice Space, in which we gangbang a vending machine.
It kind of came off as annoying. I can appreciate him trying to be funny, but I don't know, it just kind of really rubbed me the wrong way here, because in the movie it's actually a pretty likable guy, the Michael Bolton character, but this dude in real life, man, just completely different. I mean, I know he's an actor, so I didn't expect him to be the same guy from the movie, but man, this guy, he's just insufferable, man. He reminds me of, you know, it's like another guy who was like that in interviews, who just went on and just did shtick and would never give like a straight answer, was a guy like Bob Saget. Was the same way, man. I remember him being interviewed by Tom Green, and Tom Green, you know, who's a funny guy too, was actually trying to ask some kind of semi-serious questions to get something out of him, and he was just doing shtick the whole time, and it was just horrible. It just got old, and you know, I got nothing against Bob Saget. You know, he's kind of funny, his stand-up, but man, for an hour-long sit-down interview, this guy just doing shtick, and it just got old. That's kind of what, you know, this guy reminded me of. Somebody who thinks he has to be on all the time, you know. Not everybody can be Robin Williams. And, you know, the fact is, a lot of people hated Robin Williams. So there you go, man. If you're trying to be a second-rate Robin Williams. But I had to comment on this because it was really disappointing, man. You know, the rest of the people being interviewed from the movie, Livingston, Mike Judge, really gave, you know, good answers, and they were actually funny, but they actually answered the questions and provided information. I feel like the people who are really genuinely funny don't have to try so hard. You know, a guy like David Herman, maybe from his sketch comedy background, it makes me think like, you know, maybe he's a good comedic actor. You give him a script, you give him a good thought out character like a Michael Bolton, he can execute it. He's very talented in that respect. But as far as being like a naturally funny guy who you'd sit down with, who'd just make you laugh your ass off having a conversation with, he doesn't strike me like that at all.
We are doing a reboot. We're going to be doing Office Space the musical on ice at the Chaparral Center. TPS. 3 little letters.
He's the kind of guy who knows that, you know, unless you give him a script, he's really got to go all out and be over the top to try and make you laugh, because maybe he's just not that funny off the cuff. You know what I mean? That's probably why he was never a stand-up. As far as I know, the guy never did. Maybe he did. I could be wrong. Tell me I'm wrong if the guy did stand-up. I didn't research his bio. I just kind of hit the record button after I watched this part of this interview. And maybe that's why he never did stand-up. He always had to do sketch comedy because, hey, you give him a script, you give him a character, he's going to run with it. But as far as just being a funny guy, no, yeah, it's just not happening, brother. But I wanted to comment on that. You know, I'm one of these people, I get triggered. You know, I just gotta comment on stuff, and I'm drinking coffee, so I'm kind of wired. I got the shakes. So, but yeah, I just wanted to comment on that. What do you guys think, man? Do you ever notice people like they have to be on all the time? It's kind of annoying, you know, especially when you're trying to watch an interview and you want to hear information, you want to laugh, you know, you expect people to be funny, but you know, I feel like the most funniest people are just naturally funny, and I just don't think this dude is. But that's all I wanted to say. I got to get rolling here, so I hope you guys have a good day.
Who's here?